Before we wrap things up, we got a couple other things that I want to touch on. Number one is some retirement tax strategies for tax season. And Ryan, you're welcome to jump in, but April 15th is tax day, as many people know. If you do not have somebody to prepare your taxes, we've got a tax team here at Guardian Wealth Strategies, right? Our partner from All Things Financial, that's the RIA. We also have Guardian Tax. So if you don't have somebody preparing your taxes that's doing tax strategy, you can reach out to me through the website, through email, or on our phone number, and we would be more than happy to introduce you one of our tax preparers to see if that's a great fit and if they can add more value than what you're already getting. But two things that I want you to consider. In preparing for retirement, have you had an analysis done on your Roth account? Meaning, are you maximizing the Roth? Are you planning for upcoming conversions? And then two, when is the last time that you reviewed that life insurance policy to see if it still fits your current season of life? Last week, we had 5 of the families that we serve that have joined our family here at Guardian over the last really just several months that we reviewed their life insurance policies. And we found that a couple of them no longer had a need for the life insurance because they're now self-insured. And they were able to move those policies into something that helped them with long-term care insurance because they didn't have any coverage for long-term care. And then we had others that just said, hey, we've done such a great job saving and growing the assets. Let's just roll the cash value into an investment because the house is paid off. We've got great assets. And then we had one that said, you know what, I still have a need for life insurance, but we replaced their old policy with a new policy that had the same coverage for half the monthly cost. So have you reviewed your life insurance recently? If you haven't, we've got a great team and we'd love to help you see if we can improve that in case you're overpaying or in case you are overinsured. Brian, anything you want to add to that?
I think when you look at especially the tax piece of things, I know we referenced it earlier, but that Social Security component is an important factor in it. But really, when it comes to whether it's a tax advisor, whether it's a tax strategist, a financial planner, et cetera, oftentimes there's this barrier where people just have this notion that, gosh, it's probably expensive to have a strategist on my side of, in my corner, or it's probably expensive to have a financial planner in my corner, et cetera. But I would just want to encourage you that, again, when you look and say, hey, what are all the pieces of my puzzle? Having that professional really map it out for you, walk through what the costs actually are. And like Trey referenced earlier, what you're looking to find out is what is the value there for me? And is having all this work done on my behalf and finding improvements in my plan and finding potholes that I can avoid now, is that worth it to me? Yes or no? And 9 out of 10 would absolutely say yes to that. When they find a professional they enjoy meeting with, it's their type of person, and you can now say, hey, we get it. We think the same way. This person is improving my situation. And it's well worth any of the cost associated, because ultimately you're paying to have your taxes done, whether it's even if you're doing it on your own with TurboTax, you're paying financial fees if it's in your 401k, right? So it's not like it's free as it stands anyway, right, Trey? I mean, these things already have a cost associated with them. So really that benefit in finding and saying, hey, these other things that I've never looked into because I always thought it was going to cost too much. And now all of a sudden you find a ton of value that you may not have even thought was there.
Absolutely. 2 things I want to share. Number one is, if you're having a great day, don't go to this website. But if you're interested, there's a website that is also sharing our national U.S. debt, and it gives an update second by second, which right now, by the way, is at $34.4 trillion. But if you go to www.usdebtclock.com, you can look at that. And the only reason I share that is to say, you don't have to be worried or be fearful, but you need to have a plan where if the government does decide to increase taxes on 401ks, 403bs, TSPs, 457s, which is very likely, do you have a plan for how you're going to respond to that and where your money is going to come from? And if less of that nest egg is actually yours, have you looked to see if you're in the next highest tax bracket because they push us up, how long does the money last? We'd love to help you review that. You can subscribe to our podcast, All Things Financial, wherever you listen to podcasts, and you can jump on our website at All Things Financial. Actually, it's atfpodcast.com or Guardian Wealth Strategies, gwealth.com. So gwealth.com. The last two things I want to mention, I've got these pulled up here, but number one is you need a partner that's going to make sure that all of the pieces of your retirement plan are working together. Do you have a holistic plan? Or Ryan, one of the things that I think is fun about today is typically when Yelisey and I are on the podcast, I'm the story guy and he's the statistician sharing about all the stats and all the findings and all the research. And today our listeners get two storytellers. And so you probably missed some of the engineers probably missed some of the most recent stats from Yelisey, who, has that engineer mind. But we shared a lot of different stories about families that have been successful and families that have made mistakes. And really at the end of the day, the reason that we've launched this podcast is because we're passionate about education. One of the things I've found in my life is that when my money is in order, everything else in life is easier. And really our goal is to help you get your money in order. For a lot of our listeners, it's likely, especially for those of you that are married, that your partner may be the person, or maybe you're the person that's running the investments and the finances. But if something happened to you, your spouse wouldn't know what to do next. For those listeners, one of the things I'd encourage you, if you love managing your investments, but you don't have a plan for what if something happened to you, we're a great firm for starting that relationship, just coming in to meet with us, so that if something happens to you, your wife, or if you're a woman running the investments, so that your husband has a partner to take over, because they may not be able to pick the funds like you do. They may not be able to run the expenses like you do. So I would say, do you have a plan for your spouse, a succession plan, to make sure that your plan is taken care of